those similar challenges later on. Oh my gosh. Hi, my name is James, and this is James Loves Games, and welcome to my long-awaited, surely by somebody, review of Elden Ring. I put about 130 hours into the game before finishing it, and I got the platinum trophy for it, just to give you an idea, and I played it on PS5, if that helps you at all. What we're gonna be doing today is I'm gonna be eating spicy, I'm gonna be eating super hot wings, in this case, karaage, while I am reviewing Elden Ring. And the way I do game reviews is I have 5 basic categories. I have visuals, audio, gameplay, story, and the little piggy that went to market. No, replayability. And so in each of these categories, I will give the game 1 point if I liked it, 2 points if I loved it, or 0 points if I didn't like it. With that in mind, let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm gonna eat a wing, and then I'm going to tell you part of the review. So for the first review, I'm a big fan of Hot Ones. I'm kind of obsessed with their channel a little bit, and I've bought a couple of different hot sauces from Hot Ones to try out while I'm doing the review. So with the first one, I've got their classic hot sauce. It's really not so hot, and I'll show you the devil wings that we have here, and this is number 1 right here. So let's go ahead and just pop that in. Okay. I'm sure you guys love my smacking. Now that one's really not hot at all, honestly. I've been kind of eating a lot of hot sauce as of late, and so maybe I've gotten used to stuff, but this classic one, I wouldn't even call this a hot sauce. It's more of just like a little added flavor to whatever it is you're eating. With the first wing down, I want to talk about Elden Ring's visuals. Now, at very first glance, you can already tell that this is an absolutely gorgeous game. And I heard some criticism initially from some people that the game doesn't look as good as other current gen games that are out. And I will give you that. If you compare Elden Ring to Demon's Souls remake on PS5, for example, Demon's Souls outshines Elden Ring in the graphics department, bar none. I mean, it's at a static 60 frames per second. The lighting is gorgeous. The special effects are gorgeous. It's probably the best looking game I've ever seen in my life. But Elden Ring is no slouch. And I think part of the reason for the disparity is that Elden Ring was developed before the PS5 came out. And so it's really a previous generation game that's been, upgraded a little bit for current gen systems. But even with all of that out of the way, it's absolutely gorgeous. It doesn't have hyper realistic graphics or anything like that, but it looks amazing. And the thing about From Software's games is they don't focus so much on graphical fidelity as much as they do art design and art direction. And this game has got style out the wazoo. I mean, when you look at all the different areas in the game, they're all so colorful and they each have their own unique personality. The lighting and the special effects and a lot of magical spells are fantastic. The animations are out of this world. The hitboxes alone, I don't know if the hitboxes belong in visuals or gameplay, but I mean, it looks amazing. There's been some times where I probably would have been hit in any other game, but because of the position of my body, as opposed to the position of the enemy's body and their weapon, somehow that spear didn't hit. And it really presents to you a fully fleshed out world. The enemy variety is crazy. There's all kinds of enemies. I mean, dozens and dozens, if not hundreds of different enemy models of all sorts. The boss designs are just insane. It's got some of the craziest bosses I've ever seen, and they're just gorgeous. The set pieces that they've created for a lot of the fights, Queen Renala's in particular. Queen Renala's fight, Rykard's fight, and the Ancestor Spirit fight. Those places are some of the coolest places I've ever fought a boss. I think Rykard's boss fight is one of the coolest boss fights ever because you've got this just malicious slithering serpent in this giant cave full of flames and chandeliers. It has such an impact on you visually. And so I have to give this game 2 points because I love the way it looks. It's not the best looking game out there, but it is certainly the best executed as far as what it wanted to do with its own style. And my gosh, I never got sick of anything. All right, for wing number 2, we're kicking things up a notch. We've got this Queen Majesty red habanero and black coffee hot sauce. This one is it's got some bite to it. So here we go, right here. But it tastes really good. I've been putting it on everything. That's why the bottle's half empty. I think it's got just the right amount of heat. I'm resisting the temptation to lick the cutting board in front of you all. Category number 2 is audio. And I include everything in audio, including the musical soundtrack and the sound effects and sound design and the voice acting all in one. And I gotta say, they're all really, really good. I think as far as the sound effects and the sounds of the world, the clash of weapons, the magical spells, everything sounds the way you would expect it to, and I didn't really notice it much. And to me, that's really a good thing. If you swing a weapon or you use a magical spell and it makes kind of an unexpected noise, you kind of take notice of it and think like, well, that's weird. But in my thinking, if you don't pay attention to it that much and it doesn't really stand out, then they're doing a good job at conveying what you expect this weapon to sound like. And so in that regard, everything's really good. Same with the voice acting. The voice acting in this game, although underutilized, as I will mention in the story section, the voice acting is very well done. You have very unique voices for all of the characters. Everybody stands out very uniquely. And you've got a wide range of characters and a wide range of voices, and they're all really, really well acted. And so kudos to all the voice actors who participated in Elden Ring. They did a good job. But the big thing that we want to talk about is the music. And I consider myself a video game music nerd. I am obsessed with game music. Most of the music that I listen to when I'm working or doing anything really is video game music. And so I'm very particular about my video game music. You know, I grew up in the age of Chrono Trigger and Castlevania Symphony of the Night and all these other games that have really great, catchy music. And to me, the mark of a really good game soundtrack is one that not only do I want to listen to all the time, but I can get stuck in my head and I can repeat the melody. And I feel like that's one thing that Elden Ring is missing. Don't get me wrong, the music in Elden Ring is epic and it fits the action of the game perfectly. And I mean, the orchestral boss music that you hear is always so intense and epic. And again, I have to go back to the Rykard fight. It was one of the best in the game to me. Just the whole experience. And the music was a part of that. It was just so epic and scary. And it really sent home that you should be terrified of this boss. If the visuals weren't enough to terrify you, the music really sends the message home that this is an epic fight. Moreover, the Ancestor Spirit boss music is one of the best boss musical songs, if you call it a song. One of the best boss songs I've ever heard. It really sets the mood. It gives you that kind of sorrowful tone to the fight where you kind of start to feel bad about fighting this ancestor spirit because it's not really an evil entity or anything like a lot of the bosses that you fight in Elden Ring, and it's kind of defending itself, and so you kind of feel bad after a while. But just very beautiful music. My only gripe is that just the music is not real catchy. There's not really a good melody that I can link to. If somebody told me to hum a song from Elden Ring, I mean, I could probably do the opening song just because I've heard it so many times. I mean, between all the times I watch the trailer to every time I boot up the game, I've heard that opening theme song, you know, hundreds of times. And so that's probably really the only one. And so I'm kind of on the fence about it. I would say that because of the sound effects and the voice acting were so good, I'm gonna give it 2 points to the audio because I really loved all that, and they did such a fantastic job. I really can't complain. I think maybe I'm being a bit too picky if I ask for catchier music because it's really not that kind of game. And the music works so well with what it's trying to do and setting the mood. And including when you consider past Souls games didn't have any music except boss music. I mean, when you're walking around the world in Dark Souls, it's just silence. It's just your footsteps. The clomp, 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 and then when you get attacked, you hear that. But other than that, it's just silence, and it's really creepy. And so it was actually very comforting and very welcomed for me, and I think a lot of people, to have that kind of really soft ambient background music, particularly in places like Limgrave. They really went above and beyond with making music that fit every level in the world. And so I'm going to say I loved it. 2 more points. All right, we're up to sauce number 3, and it is the hot ones, Los Calientes. And I love this sauce. Let's go with the hot ones, Los Calientes. Already. So good. This one and the Queen Majesty I put on anything. And I'm used to eating these 3. They're really not so bad if you're used to hot sauces. But I know the Los Calientes has a real slow burn, and it can kind of sneak up on you if you're not careful. And with that, category number 3, the most important category in my book, gameplay. Is the game fun? Does it control the way it should control? Does it keep you engaged? Do you get bored with the gameplay? It's fantastic. This game is so fun. And granted, I know it's kind of an acquired taste. A lot of people don't really dig the Souls-style gameplay that is present in Elden Ring, but I absolutely love it. And it's a culmination of all of the best of previous From Software games. The combat is much more streamlined. As I mentioned earlier, the hitboxes have been vastly improved over all other FromSoft games. I mean, seriously, you can pull off some moves in this game and do some dodges from hits that I wouldn't have thought possible in a video game, honestly. But there's so much variety in how you can play the game. You can play purely intelligence magic. You can use glintstone sorceries. You can use fire spells. You can use dragon spells. I mean, you got swords, axes, heavy hammers, all kinds of weapons, bows and arrows. There's even a jar cannon that you can use to launch great bolts. And so the sheer variety of ways to play is staggering by itself. But the fact that you add in things like Ashes of War that give you special ability that you can put on your weapon. You can summon spirits to help you in battle if things get too difficult. You can also summon other players to help you in battle or to fight you. It's almost like you have to play through the game 3 or 4 times just to get a sense of all the things that you can do. And so my advice to anybody who's thinking of playing it is don't pigeonhole yourself into one type of character. At the beginning especially, you need to branch out and try all sorts of different things. My first playthrough, I did a mostly intelligence, dexterity build. It was mostly intelligence. I wanted to do all those glintstone sorceries with the Kamehameha beam, and, you know, I just wanted to melt enemies with my staff and all the magic coming out of it. And I had so much fun doing it. But along the way, I discovered all these other really cool, unique weapons. And so for my New Game Plus, I'm playing through with Faith Strength. So I got an opportunity to use a lot of the bigger, bulkier, bonkier weapons. And all those really cool faith-based incantations, the holy spells and the Erdtree spells and the fire spells and the dragon spells and all that stuff. And it's so ridiculously fun. I mean, I put in 130 hours before I beat the game, and I'm still playing it. You know, I'm still streaming it every Sunday because it's so stinking fun. I just can't stop myself. And I'm not the type of person to put 130 hours into a game, really, ever. I think the only other time I've done that is when I played Dragon Quest XI on the Switch, and that was when I did absolutely everything in the game, and when I was done, I was ready to be done. I mean, I did all of the little quests and achievements and everything, and I put that game on the shelf, and I still don't plan on playing it for quite a while because I got my fill. So with Elden Ring, I mean, I am still not satiated. I'm like the beast clergyman with his death roots. I need more. I need more. The way that you can approach the world, too, is also so varied. I mean, you can just make a beeline for all the important bosses to get straight to the end of the game. And you could probably do it if you're skilled and know where to go, you know, in a couple of hours. But, you know, if you're really into exploration, there's hidden caves everywhere. You've got to pick up map fragments, and there's just random towers with enemies and chests, and There's some chests that teleport you to other parts of the world, and it's massive. It's massively huge, and I honestly don't know how they crammed so much content into this game in as little time as they had in making it. But it's a fantastic, fantastic game. And honestly, I'm talking about it right now and I'm making myself want to play it more. So as I'm reviewing it, instead of reviewing it, I would rather be playing the game. That's my review. So 2 points. I love the gameplay for Elden Ring. That's it. All right, number 4, sauce number 4 is 13 Angry Scorpions, Jekyll and Hyde. And this is from Australia. And also another really, really good sauce. It's very thick, as you can see. It's not really, there you go. It's got like a smokiness, kind of like a barbecue sauce, but it's got scorpions in there, so it's just death. And I've got way too much of that sauce on here. So let's jump right in. Well, it's got kind of that smoky sweetness like a barbecue sauce at first. And his spicy friend just barges in, kicks you in the face. This is the first one that's really, Oh, mama. Freakishly hot, it says. And it is. Okay, while this is burning in my mouth, let's go to our next category, the story. Now, this is where the score for the game is going to take a bit of a hit. And I will say, Elden Ring does have a story. Elden Ring has an awesome story with amazing lore. It goes so deep, with everything kind of revolving around the demigods that live in the lands between and their relationships. You really get a feel for George R.R. Martin's contribution to the story. He's really good at setting up a backstory and building a world. And so you can tell with all of these sort of interrelationships between these demigods, it's much like Game of Thrones with all the interrelations between these noble families, kings and queens intermarrying and fighting each other. And you get a real sense of that. And it's complicated and it's really messy. And there's a lot of different moving parts. And I will say one of my least favorite things about the story is the way that all the characters are named. It's either like Radagon or Ronnie or Renala, Margit or Morgott, Godfrey or Godfroy or Godric or Godwin. And it's just like your name either starts with an R or an M or a G, and you just gotta kind of figure out who's who. And it's a slog just to wrap your mind around all of this vast web of characters and their intentions and what they mean to do to you. But it's a very rich tapestry of drama, and if you take the time to really get to know all of them, it is very fascinating and very interesting. Not to mention all of the outer worldly influences, like with the Golden Order and, you know, with the ancestor spirits and where they came from, and the origins of glintstone sorcery, and, you know, all the wars and things that these people fought with each other. It's all very fascinating, and you could probably teach a college course on everything, the history of the lands between. But my main beef, okay, aside from the weird naming structure, my main beef is that all of this stuff is just so agonizingly difficult to get a hold of. They tell you almost nothing about the story directly. You get kind of a weird cutscene at the beginning of the game. You don't know who these people are, what any of this means, and they just kind of throw you in. And as you meet people, they kind of give you clues as to overall what you are supposed to do, what your role is in this world. But outside of that, you really have to dig deep to get any details about what's going on. And that's the main weakness of the story here. I think that they had a golden opportunity to really showcase an epic story, but it's just the way that they tell it is not very good, in my opinion. And I know there's some people that enjoy it this way. Certainly all of the YouTubers that make lore videos enjoy it this way because it gives them video content to make. It gives them something to dig into and disseminate. But I feel like it's such a wasted opportunity because they have such a cool background story, such a cool world, and really interesting characters. And they tell it so ineffectually they really don't tell it at all. They make you hunt for it. That it's lost on most people. I mean, it's a running gag with Elden Ring especially, but with most Souls games, that you beat the game and you don't even know who's who or what's what. You know, it's like a joke when you get to the end of the game and then somebody shows up and it's like a big twist and you're supposed to say like, oh my gosh, he's here. But I think most players get towards the end and they're like, wait, who's this guy? Am I supposed to know him? He's acting like I've heard of him before. And so I feel like they kind of dropped the ball a bit on there. And I understand what they're trying to do. I know they like to play, kind of hide the ball. And part of the fun is hunting for these little bits of lore. And so you get to earn the story. But I feel like, to me, you're already earning the gameplay, right? You've got these incredibly difficult bosses in a ruthless, malevolent world that you're inhabiting, trying to stop you from progressing. So yeah, I would say I like the story, but I do not love it because of the way it's told. So 1 point for story. All right, this is it, our final wing. And I'm honestly surprised that these guys didn't really affect me that much. The angry scorpions kind of gave me a little bit of spiciness, but I know this one's going to wreck me. This one is, it's Hot Ones, the last dab, Apollo. And it is legitimately hot. And when I was prepping these, I put way too much of this stuff on there. So I'm probably going to burst into flames when I'm talking about the last category. But oh my gosh, it's just soaked. I'm toast. Look at this. I'm dead. So to the lands between. Oh, it's already so bad. It tastes good, but oh my gosh. And this one's a slow burn. Oh my gosh. This one's a slow burn, so it's just gonna get worse. I'm just chewing and chewing. Get out of here. Oh. All right. Our fifth and final category is longevity. Is this game going to give you the bang for your buck? For $60, how much are you going to get out of this game? And I would say a lot. I mean, if you're doing it like cost per hour, it's like 50 cents. Would you pay 50 cents to play an hour of Elden Ring? Heck yes, you would, because it's awesome. But not only does it have a humongous world, oh my gosh, it just keeps getting worse. Not only does it have a humongous world that takes hundreds of hours to get through, you're probably going to miss a lot of stuff. New Game Plus adds several layers of more interesting things to do. It's nice to go back on the revenge tour and dominate bosses that gave you a hard time your first way through. But the bosses get more difficult as you go through the game, and so you're met with those similar challenges later on. Oh my gosh. Moreover, PvP and the online presence of this game really keeps the longevity going. It's kind of got its own weird meta, separate from the main game of PvE. And so it's always kind of shifting and changing. The ever-present rock, paper, scissors. Oh my gosh, this is so hot. The rock, paper, scissors of like what's going to beat what in the online meta of player versus player. But it's so fun. And the online community is so humongous right now. There's literally millions of people playing this game all over the world. And so you're never short of someone to play with. And I have a feeling this one is going to continue for many, many years, especially when they come out with DLC, which I'm sure they will. But oh my gosh. It's so hot. It's just a massively good game. And I honestly, I could see myself putting 200-300 hours into this one. And I know some people have put all over that already. And it's that much fun. You can do co-op playthroughs, and that really adds longevity to it as well. Ah, my tongue hurts. Death Wish. That's longevity. It's got it at the wazoo more than almost any other game I've ever played. Whew. Okay, so if we add it all up, we've got visuals. We got 2 points for visuals. We got 2 points for audio. We got 2 points for gameplay, 1 point for story, 2 points for longevity. Because let's face it, you're not going to find a game with this much stuff to do that's not something like Factorio or Stellaris or something like that. So, what do we got? Oh, thank you. Drink Fairy coming in clutch with soy milk. Oh, it's so hot. It's kind of dying down a little bit. But yeah, so with all that in mind, 9 out of 10. I would say though, with the music, I wish the music were a little more catchier, like I said. I was actually considering giving this an 8 out of 10 because of that. but because the music does what it is intended to do so well, I'm gonna go ahead and give it the 9 out of 10. So 9 out of 10 for Elden Ring. It's one of my favorite games of all time. It's truly epic. If you're not into Souls games, please give this one a shot because it's got so much quality of life stuff that makes it so much better than its predecessors. I am getting so dizzy. It's a once in a lifetime kind of gaming experience, and I'm so happy to have experienced it firsthand at launch, especially with the great community of people at James Loves Games, all of my subscribers and members and sponsors. You know, we have so much fun streaming and playing it together. And so it's a great game for community and bringing people together. And so yeah, it's awesome. Go play it right now. Quit watching this dumb video and go play Elden Ring. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time right here on It's so